Or please do, sir.
Swearing is encouraged. Okay, I'm seeing us pop up there.
Okay, we are live.
Hey. Hmm, cool. At least I think we are. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. The thing just scrolled down so I couldn't see my own face anymore. Uh, I'm just waiting to hear if I can hear us.
Can you hear us?
Okay.
Uh-oh.
I can't hear us on YouTube yet.
Uh-oh.
Hmm. I don't know what's going on there. If people can hear us, let us know. That would be appreciated. I'm going to try and throw the link open on my phone while I do the can you hear
Yeah,
us talking?
I can hear us.
Okay, Grant. For some reason it's just not coming across on the on my preview. Okay, it's weird.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll post away our links.
I already did, I don't know.
Oh, look at you, Mr. Professional.
I've been called a lot of things, but professional is not one of them.
You put in Discord, yeah.
I did. I did.
I'm trying to remember who put what where. So we've got all our bases covered.
I know.
Keep forgetting that my profile picture is the X-Men logo. I'm like, what the hell? Is there some sort of error going on?
It's an
Let me
error
just
when
get
people log
the
onto your page.
yeah, no, it's definitely an error. Yeah. Why would you be here? God, so many messages about. Here's tips on how to moderate your channel. Thanks, lads.
Oh, by the
Appreciate it.
way, I am drinking a coffee at 11:30 at night.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, you're planning to do the marathon, get through this live stream and
We'll,
pay per view.
we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Hi, folks who are just starting to join in. I can see a few people watching now. Let us know if everything's looking good, sounding good on your end. I'm afraid we can't change our faces, but once you can hear and see us, I'm afraid that's the best we can do. And we'll get started in just a minute. The links have just gone out, so I don't want to jump the gun with anything. Hey, Danny's here. I could see that's our first comment of the night.
Hey, Danny.
Do people still do that thing where everybody tries to go first on YouTube videos? Um,
I don't know. I'm not a YouTube video commenter.
you're not,
That's,
you're not, yeah, well, I mean, it's an absolute cesspit,
I mean,
usually.
I have a lot of issues in my life, but that's not one of them.
True, true.
Dave is here.
Um,
Um, we all we all looking forward to the show.
such as it is. Hey,
I,
Dave is here.
I literally said that.
Sorry, I was literally away because somebody in the Discord was saying that the original link wasn't working because it's just a
Ah,
splash page.
okay.
You do need to go back. There's been some good episodes lately, and I'm not one to uh Danny, I'm not normally one to praise our shows, but I feel like we've been on a little bit of a hot streak
Don't listen to him,
of
Danny. It's a trap.
some dumb and good bits. There was like a while during the 1999 summer where I was really down on the program because like not that I thought we were being half-arsed, but like WCW were being so half-arsed. I don't think it's possible to um make it entertaining. So the fact that people are responding to a lot of the staying up for the fireworks wherever they're aimed, says Jamie. Well, if Kota Ibushi shows up on the show, they'll be aimed primarily at himself. Uh,
um,
right, we've got.
all I can say to Dave is I knew it. That's all I'll say. He knows what it means.
I got five in there now. Okay, that's cool. Um, right. So, agenda for the live stream. We're going to be here with you right until the start of World's
Main
End,
show. Yeah.
just under an hour and a half. So we will be rocking through the pre-show. I think Lee, you're going to keep us abreast of anything fun that might happen on the pre-show. Are you? Is that your plan?
Sure.
This is there's a plan he forgot we said the other night. So
Well,
I'll be
I
throwing
look
it
at.
on mute in another window as well.
I was just going to say I have a TV to my left, so I can just turn that on and keep a kind of a side eye on it.
Mm. Um, we have Fall Brawl already in the can, Dave. I'm afraid the one of the things that's been happening a lot with myself and Lee lately is recording days. The reason we had to switch to Monday, Tuesday is they're getting really hard to organize.
Mm-hmm.
Because the shows have gotten much bigger in terms of like how long the raw recordings are. And we don't want to compromise on quality. So what we do is we're trying to get ahead of ourselves and bank a few shows in advance so that if there's a week where I'm busy or Lee's busy, we don't miss a show. Um, so yeah, that's where we're at the moment. I don't want to spoil anything that's coming up on Brawl Brawl, but this isn't a stream for 1999 WCW. I got to get sidetracked. Our plan for tonight is we're going to talk about some OTYs, some of our favorite things of the year, because last year we did a Christmas, New Year's sort of stream and people enjoyed that. And we want to combine it with some pay-per-view chat. We're going to do a rundown of the card. We're going to do some snack talk, which I know Dave is
Mm-hmm.
absolutely on the edge of his seat for. We're gonna do some booze talk. I've got the festive booze I got here that I'm gonna show off, and I'm gonna ask the people in the chat to pick for me which one I'm gonna try first. But we will get to that in a minute. I think the first thing I want to do, and I have this is all gonna be coming off the top of my dome. I've nothing written down, is to talk about the elephant in the room today, and what's been going on Twitter, because I think myself and Lee were talking about it earlier on, and we certainly felt that to come on and to not mention it, especially given like who's on the card and everything like that, I think would be disingenuous and might send the wrong message. However, at the same time, I'm acknowledging that like we are not journalists. And it would be inappropriate in the extreme for us to start declaratively kind of coming in and saying this is that, this is the other, and recklessly speculating. I think one of the problems about Twitter discourse, even at the best of times, is that it lends itself to dot connecting and reckless speculation. But suffice to say, I think people who are regular listeners to the show know our track record on um our unwavering support of victims of all sorts of sexual assaults, sexual misconduct, things like that, that we remain steadfast in. I think people who maybe follow me on Twitter saw that I have some uh, issues with how this story came out. And this is kind of why we're talking about it in the way we are, because I'm very careful that the way this all came out today is in a way that will embolden some of the worst people on Twitter to be even worse and to harass women to come forward stories when they may not be ready and things like that. And that's not something I want to lend my voice to, that kind of the amplification of that kind of bad practice and bad faith and things like that. Um, I think the best thing we can do is just acknowledge that we know we are horrified with kind of how the timeline has been today. Um, and yeah, just my heart breaks for anybody that could potentially have been involved. Um, and I think I worry a lot, like I said, about how it came out as well, that in a situation where we need to be doing everything to give power to the voices of victims, that has been stolen away from them before they even got to say anything, which is, like I said, another reason why I don't want to get too bogged down in it now. But I think it would be weirdly if we didn't say something about it at the top. Is like, are these fuckers living in a bubble? Are they, tacitly supporting anything that might have gone on or something like that? And we absolutely do not. Um,
I just want to add that Dave does speak on behalf of both of us. as he mentioned, like I've said a lot to him in private. I don't need to repeat in public. Just 100%. I'm with Dave with what he just said.
Yeah, yeah. Um, like this is not the Twitter wasn't the appropriate space for people to be basically speculating, and neither is two dummies on a live chat on YouTube
Mm.
in the middle of the night either. But we do want to acknowledge it in the way that when similar stuff has come out in real time in the past when we've been covering people, um, whoever they may be on the show, in WCW timeline, we acknowledge things as they're happening. But yeah, a grim day, and my heart goes out to anybody affected or anybody that just like, even if not directly affected, like it's got to be hard for a lot of people to just read the things that are being said or being speculated on. Um, and my heart goes out to them as well. But yeah, that's that's that. There's no gentle segue out of that into the rest of the dumb fuck show that's happening for the next hour and a half. So thanks for sticking with us during that chat. And I think when it comes to that person's match, I think we're just going to, again, we're not going to indulge on talking about him, because one way or the other, I don't have facts to hand about anything that's going on. I don't want to get down that rabbit hole. So we hope you appreciate and respect that, much as we appreciate and respect all your takes, and kind of a couple of people asking us today what we thought of things and things like that. So I think it's just, yeah, it's fucking hard, man. It's fucking hard. But like I suppose the best fucking sideways jaunt out of that is to talk about booze, because I fucking need some now after talking about that live. It's one level of nerve-wracking when we've had to talk about that kind of stuff in the past and it's pre-recorded, and if I
Yeah,
felt I did a shit job of it, I could just redo it. Doing that live with nothing written down is tough because I don't want to misrepresent us or
well,
how we feel about things.
yeah. It's just it's that like recorded or not or live or not. It's just never an easy topic to talk about. So let's talk about booze.
Yeah, so like it became my gimmick the last few years, when I moved from beer. I think everybody on the who's been with us long time has been following the saga of me moving from being a beer person. When WCW broke us, we became weekly beer drinkers,
Mm.
just to get through the show. And as time has gone on, we've become men of spirits, of
Yes.
high spirits. Um so what's happened for me the last few Christmases is people have gotten me whiskeys because it is my spirit of choice. Oh, Kieran's here, and he's already given me compliments.
Don't
Kieran,
be
my
encouraging
friend.
them, Kieran, for fuck's sake.
Firstly, Kieran gives me a platform by having me on his podcast multiple times, which I do always sincerely appreciate the chat with him and Mark. And now he boosts my ego by saying I'm very young. Yes, for a few people, this will be their first time seeing me with the head shaved. Yeah, it's all gone. It's actually now got about 2 weeks of growth in it. And as I said, I think I said on Days of Thunder, it's like I was as surprised with anybody that the hairline held up pretty well when I got rid of
Fucking
it.
disgusting.
So yeah, I'm yeah, thanks for like it's at the stage, Kieran, where like I keep forgetting now. So like I'll walk down the street past people that I know and they'll be like and I'll be like, what? So yeah, the hair is gone. I think I'm gonna keep it short for a little while, because I kind of like it now. Um, but it's you can only tell which one of us it is by the glasses. You went from complimenting me to saying I look like Lee. I don't know whether how to take that. Or you saying Lee looks like me, in which case high compliment to Lee, and he's buttering us both up now.
I mean, you just look like Lasharoo lost their hair match. That's all I'm saying.
I don't have nearly as much ginger in my hair as you do, sir.
I don't have hair.
Yeah, well, this is
Excuse you.
true, but I've seen when the schmig gets a bit long, I've seen some flecks of ginger in it that I don't
It's
possess.
it's getting a little more grey
Yeah, I've got
than
weird
anything else.
strains of blonde in mine, when it gets long enough, which is weird because my hair is quite dark. But yeah, we sidetracked from booze chat there. But yeah, thanks, Kieran, for noticing. Yeah, so this year I got a selection of three whiskeys. Um, I did manage to finish off a very nice whiskey over the Christmas. I got to share a whiskey with my godson for the first time because
Oh,
he is 22. But at first he didn't drink, and then he was only on beer for a long time. And I'm not somebody that likes to peer pressure people, but we were at a family thing over Christmas, and I usually bring my own whiskey rather than assume people will have it for me. If it's a house thing. Um, so I got to share one with him, and that was a nice moment. Um, so I finished off my Cheetah, Chita whiskey, which is from the Suntory distillery, Japanese
mm.
whiskey. Delicious. Absolutely recommended. Very nice and very smooth and neat, but next level with a good mixer as well. Did you get any booze for Christmas before I unveil mine?
I did. I got a friends of ours. So
Hmm.
we bought presents for the kids, and that was great. And I got a little naggin of whiskey off them for a nice Christmas present that I wasn't expecting.
Mm.
And Jen also got me a lovely collection. So hang on, it's just across the room. Give me one
Oh,
second. I'll show
okay.
you this because it's very
Well,
nice and it's better than me trying to describe it. So
yeah, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start showing off mine while Lee is doing that. And I look, I'm putting this up first because it's the kind of least exotic sounding. Um, but I will say it is a surprising favorite of mine, and it is a like a slight twist on the usual. So it's the Bushmills Black Bush, but it's the Sherry Cask Reserve. So it's gonna be a little sweet. So that's the kind of the I suppose the closest to a basic bitch whiskey I got this year, although I am a noted fan of Bushmills. So this is pretty good. And I do like it's a strong bottle. It's a strong bottle with the kind of embossed 1608. Uh some weird Icelandic booze. Is it that clear booze, Kieran? The one that they have with that incredibly smelly fish? Um I wonder. I wonder. The second one I have is a Faircullen single malt Irish whiskey. So the first one was Bushmills, Lee, the
okay.
Sherry Cask Reserve.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Faircullen single malt. It's from the Powers Court Distillery, which is the distillery where Powers Irish whiskey comes. For those of you who've never tried it, it's fairly like high on the burn, but not kind of
Great on the taste.
not great on the taste. Not great on the taste. It's like, those middle couple of wings on hot ones where it's all burn and no flavor. That's
Mm.
kind of what Powers is. But I have read some reviews and I've been assured by the person who bought me this that like trust. It's good shit. So that's that. And then I will butcher the name of this next one. Uh
Before you
yes.
do, may I just add that Jeff Jarrett is on the pre-show.
Oh, I think I said Jeff Jarrett is on the line now. Like, hell yeah, brother.
But yeah, no, for some reason, Jeff Jarrett is part of the pre-show with Renee and RJ. So there's your
Ah,
update.
double J. Let me know if RJ gets the El Kabonk or the acoustic equalizer, depending on your flavor. So rounding it off, the one I think that is the most kind of ooh la di da is the Dalwhinnie 15-year reserve Scotch.
Oh,
Yeah, this is some nice shit.
I can see you being a Scotch guy.
I'm not. I'm usually an Irish whiskey guy. The one I kind of have the least would be bourbon. But I'll
And see, I'm a big bourbon guy. I love bourbon.
yeah, yeah, you're a bourbon man. That this is known about you. So I'm very excited to try all three of these. People sound off in the chat. I'm gonna have one with I'm gonna have one. I've got my big comical square ice cube ready to go, and I'm gonna pour it in, have a little sip, and then fill it up with Pepsi because I don't want to be lamped on a live stream. Who
If
knows what
my
I'll say?
if my vote counts, I'd go for the Bushmills personally. But
I think the Bushmills might be a good start.
right, well, seeing as you've discussed your whiskey, let me
Yes.
introduce the present that my beautiful wife got me. I'm only saying that because she might see this.
Oh,
I
yes.
know you're a fan of a Teelings,
Mm-hmm.
or sorry, Teelings, not Teelings. So it's a lovely presentation set, even with a couple of glasses.
Oh, the Teeling glasses are very nice.
So that was very unexpected.
I have up on a shelf. You can't really see it. On that shelf there behind my PlayStation headphones is the old display. They used to have a black one of those that they did at
Hmm.
Christmas, and I got that one year.
But that,
Um,
that that's their small batch
mm,
whiskey done in rum casks, I believe.
mm. Anybody who's like a nerdy history person, a great, interesting thing to look up. So, Teeling Distillery was the first distillery to start making whiskey inside the city of Dublin since the Great Whiskey Fire in Dublin, which is an interesting event to look up because it basically went like it was such a bad fire that everybody's like, "Hey, you can't brew something this flammable in our city again." And that was a thing that stood for, I think I read about 100 years. Read about 100 years. There's a great podcast that's run by a friend of mine from college, Three Castles Burning with Donald Fallon, which is a Dublin history podcast that has a great episode on the whiskey fire. If you're not a history reading, you're a history listening
I,
kind of guy.
I'm a history guy and I was not aware of that.
About the podcast or the
Yeah.
fire?
Well, the fire and
Yeah, yeah.
podcasts, but yeah.
I have also been to a wedding reception in the Teeling Distillery. It is
You
very nice.
have,
And I've done the
yes.
tour as well. It's a very nice distillery.
I keep
Um,
saying it. We need to do an outing to the Teeling Distillery as a, a podcast thing, not necessarily just for us getting whiskey,
That'd be
just
great. That'd be great.
a
You
business
know,
trip.
when we are propelled to podcast stardom, our first live show will be at the distillery.
You mean after we win the sports podcast of the year wrestling
Yes,
category?
yes, yes. Of course. Well,
Who,
we're
by the way,
award
I assume
nominated.
you have all voted multiple times.
Oh, of course, of course. I actually haven't yet. Well, I'm thinking about voting for Ted DiBiase Jr. You know, it's right on
I
the
mean, listen,
us or
it's a
him.
great podcast.
Am I still in the DiBiase posse? It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Um, Right, so that's booze talk. If anybody has a preference for which one I have, Bushmills, Dalwhinnie, Cullen, let us know in the chat. Lee, you're the one that sounded off so far saying Bushmills, so I'm leaning
Mm.
Bushmills, but I'll give it another 2 or 3 minutes of people deciding
And Dave
what
is
they
absolutely
want.
correct. Teeling's is the best distillery, and Jameson is a tourist trap.
Yeah, like I like a Jameson. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it, and I think there's a couple of the more expensive Jamesons that are proper good.
Mm.
But I think a lot of Irish people and a lot of tourists, as you say, get trapped in the Jameson is the final word in Irish whiskey, which is really it's limiting yourself. It's not that it's a bad whiskey, it's that you're really kind of like putting the blinkers on to a whole world of experiences with whiskey if you just stop at Jameson. It's not there are worse places to stop,
Mm.
but you know what I mean. Anyway, where do we want to go next, Lee? Do we want to talk snack talk?
Let's do a couple of the years first, and then we'll get to snack talk.
Okay, okay. So I've got a couple of wrestling OTYs to talk, and then some non-wrestling OTYs. So I think, um,
Let's do one wrestling and one non-wrestling OTY.
okay, right. Do we want to do a biggie or a less biggie?
Listen, you're running this show, so you call it.
Okay, let's do two smallies
Okay.
instead of a biggie, and then we'll do a non-wrestling one. So I want to ask you about your tag team of the year.
Hmm. I really should have thought about this stuff knowing you were going to ask it. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. There hasn't been like a real standout for me, like of what the stuff I've watched.
I think there's been a
Um,
lot of tag teams that have been at a pretty decent level, and ones I see. So I suppose the blind spot to acknowledge for myself, somebody that I see Snowboy put them over a lot, and other people put them over a lot on Twitter, but I haven't seen a lot of them are the astronauts.
that's the one everyone talks about that I just don't see because
Yeah.
obviously time.
So that's an acknowledgement right there. Danny says Aussie Open, and I think absolutely like every time I see Aussie Open, I'm just like, these guys are fucking class. And I think the
Hmm.
only thing that doesn't help them is I think Mark Davis has been injured twice this year
Yeah, he's been out a
in
lot.
in both his in like both his prominent shots on television. He's ended up getting hurt pretty quickly, which I don't think has helped the cause. But in terms of match quality, every time I see them, they deliver. Um, I think
I,
obviously you've got to do a like there's always the customary tip to the Bucks when the Bucks wrestle. Like they're
yeah, well,
good, they just
that
don't.
that's a thing. We just haven't seen them enough this year.
Yeah.
Obviously, I haven't not seen as much New Japan this year as I would have in years past, and
Yeah.
by all accounts, Bishamon had another cracking year. Catch 2-2, TJP and Akira have had a great year as well.
Hmm.
But yeah, like it's odd. Like I've only basically seen like AEW and sporadic Impact bits, and like ABC have been great.
Yeah. And
I've really
yeah,
enjoyed them.
Dave is right saying that like I think Tony realizes what he has in Kyle Fletcher. I think that
Mm-hmm.
guy is set with AEW. I think he's going to be a big deal. He's already getting the kind of like protected. You can tell he's being protected and portrayed very well.
Mm-hmm.
Not like last time where kind of Davis gets injured and he kind of wrestles a little bit and then disappears off TV. It's like, no, I believe in this guy enough now that he's getting a prominent role still. So yeah, and he is a star. He will be for them. I think we were talking about it on the show that dropped on Patreon last night, the Skip Scramble. I think when I've seen them have sporadic matches this past year, I think the Motor City Machine Guns are still one of the best tag
Oh, yeah,
teams
that's
on earth,
true.
as are Violence is Forever. I don't get to see enough of those guys, but I fucking love Guarini and Koo. I think they're fucking great. And like a part of me always goes, I wish they were at AEW. Then part of me is like, would they just turn into the workhorsemen in
They'd just be
AEW?
workhorsemen. Yeah, they'd get
Yeah,
lost in ROH or whatever.
yeah. Something when it
Um,
comes to promotion of the year that we need to talk about is like Tony doesn't always handle the people with indie buzz very well. Um, And it's something that I thought about a lot after that MJF Players Tribune piece because he talks about people that came in with loads of hype and amounted to nothing. Warhorse. And sometimes they've been right not to trust the internet buzz, but sometimes I think the Workhorsemen absolutely could have been a really useful tag team.
can I just say, will Warhorse ever not be funny as an answer for, for AEW getting it right?
Yeah. Um, Kieran, we were having a chat. I don't know if you caught the latest Patreon show, but we were having a chat last on that show about the idea that Motor City Machine Guns are probably like they're on to me they're on the level with the Bucks and with the Briscoes for greatest tag teams in North America in our lifetime, but I feel they're not a team that will get the plaudits that those guys do until maybe both of them have already retired. Your thoughts and the thoughts of other people in the chat are very welcome on the Motor City Machine Guns all-timer case because I fucking love those guys so
You
much.
you love them like the amount that you love them makes it seem like I don't, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I really do. Like they're really great.
Yeah.
It's just I don't put them quite there. I put them like a level below.
We watched the two of them wrestling Steen Erico for the
Yeah,
Skip Scramble, and
it's
it was
still fucking
fucking
phenomenal.
boss,
Like,
man, fucking boss. I'm going with the Bushmills, by the way. Nobody disagreed with your take, so I'm gonna go with the Bushmills.
um,
Um, so
so
who are
what?
yours?
Like kind of by default, I'd have to say like ABC because they're the ones I've kind of seen a lot.
Mhm.
Um, and yeah, the machine guns are fucking still great. There hasn't been a standout team in AEW, and that's
No, and Kieran said that like anybody but bald and hair, which could count for FTR or the Bucks.
it's so fucking true.
To give it up,
Uh,
Nick. Give it up. He's
no,
got the full Garrett
he needs
Bale
to
going
lose.
on.
He needs to lose it in a hair match.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
give it up.
Yeah, because like, I mean, uh, Lucha Bros have gotten to the point where I much prefer when they're not wrestling together as a tag
Oh,
team.
100%. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and there's no team that's absolutely standing out in my head at the moment. Certainly not fucking better than you, baby. Um, I'll tell you that. But
There
we'll
you
get
go.
to
Kieran
that
said
more.
he's watched the matches but not listened to the pod. And the
Yeah,
tag
yeah.
match was tremendous. So
It's
it
good, and
really
it's free on
was.
YouTube. It's free on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Um,
Um,
right.
yeah.
What's your next of the year? Because
Um,
I don't think we're going to reach a consensus on tag team.
No. Here's one I've literally just come up with as we're talking. Um, Most improved. And again, people in the chat sound off about this. who's somebody that maybe you didn't have a high opinion of, or maybe you didn't rate as highly, who now you're just like, no, they've really impressed me in 2023. And
Here,
that could be somebody you rated at maybe this level, like right in the middle before, and now they've proven they're up here, or it could be somebody you thought was dog shit and is now class.
do you know who I put forward for most improved?
Who?
Julia Hart.
Do you know what?
I think she has been an absolute revelation as Gulia, as people like to call her.
Yeah.
Like that match she had with Statlander was fucking
Yeah.
awesome. Like really,
Yeah.
really great. Um,
Oh, Dave with a Jay White. That in terms of like, no one thought he would translate to American TV well, and he was like the last little while, maybe not as much, but as a kind of when he was doing his little collision run and he was just having bangers, I think he's been good. Kieran says the guns, which I think that very fair because
yeah,
I thought they
yeah,
were
that's
absolute shit.
hmm.
And I still think one of them is pretty shit. But one of them
Big,
is
big Colton.
but one of them's all right. One of them's all right, which is a huge improvement. And the Manny Men entrance, I don't care how much you have to pay 50 Cent. That needs to be permanent.
Yeah. I'll just add Chris Statlander and Willow's hitting the ring now.
Okay, cool. I think they're all great shouts. I think somebody that I already rated decently high, and now I'm just like, now I have full confidence that their world title level is Swerve. I always liked him a lot, but I didn't
Mm.
think anyone would. I didn't think he would get to a level where he's undeniable to a major company. Um, oh, the guns, wrong ones, wrong ones.
Okay, okay. Kieran qualifying that it's the wrong guns we were talking about.
Yeah, Willow is a great shout as well. I think Willow was somebody I always liked, but I think she has that Bailey type quality if she just has this
Mm-hmm.
charisma and connection with a crowd that you can't teach.
Which is funny as she's probably about to turn heel and join with Stokely.
Do you know who's in a shout for most improved, Lee?
Okay, go for it.
Big Bill.
Yeah, that's a guy that came in with very little fanfare
Now,
and
this
has
is a moment where if Garrett Kidney is out there in the ether, he's
I
about to
know,
log on and talk about how great his Impact one
I
was.
know,
And
I know.
I believe he was very good in Impact, but I was not watching that much at the time. So I can't really speak to the W. Morrissey.
Nobody was. Sorry, Garrett.
Oh, Jamie O'D. Now, I will say, Jamie, I've always rated this dude pretty highly, but Brody King is a good shout for this as
Mm.
well because big bad Brody King has been this year.
Brody goes back to my Julia Hart thing of those two together were fucking great during the summer.
Also, it's not even close for best music in the House of Black. That Harder Heart tune for Julia is fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only one that isn't indistinguishable sludge. I was talking to somebody, I can't remember if it was you. It was somebody I talked to regularly about wrestling, where I was like, yeah, of all the different teams, they all have the different combinations. Hers is the best. And somebody was like, wait, they all have different tunes because all the rest of them sound exactly the fucking same.
Yeah, no, I'm aware that they do like the fucking all the different variations of tag teams have their own music, and then they all have their own separate entrance
Yeah,
music.
there's one for the trio, there's one for Kings of the Black Throne, and then they all have their individual ones as well. But yeah, Harder Heart is by far the best one. That's what I'd actually listen to by itself,
Mm-hmm.
which is very rare for wrestling music
Also,
for me now.
Julia pulls off the mimicking gimmick or the miming gimmick perfectly.
Way better than Scarlet.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um, right. So that's my those are my kind of my wrestling OTYs for now. I want to do a non-wrestling OTY and I want to ask you best TV thing you've seen this year.
best
It
TV
doesn't
thing
have to
I've
be a
seen this year.
2023 show if you don't want it to be, but best TV thing you watched in 2023.
Hmm, that's a good question. I'm just gonna throw it out there because I genuinely I thought it was decent. Was the wrestlers? I watched that and enjoyed it. For like when you realize what it is, like when you go in with your eyes open to okay, it's all fucking work, but I
Yeah.
enjoyed that for what it was.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think, what else have I watched this year?
I
See that
thought as far as Marvel stuff goes, the Loki season 2 was pretty good.
I haven't watched it yet.
I thought it was like the bar is pretty fucking low for that stuff now, but I thought
Mm-hmm.
Loki season 2 was pretty good. Um, I started watching The Morning Show this year, which I thought was really good. It's from a few years ago, but it's an Apple TV show, and it's about
Okay.
like This Morning type show over in the States, one of those Good Morning America type
Yeah.
shows, with Jennifer Aniston and Steve Carell, where Steve Carell gets Me Too'd in the first episode, and
Oh,
it's how the
Jesus.
show deals with the fallout and how he tries to fight it. And I think it's really, really good. I have heard Silo is really good, Kieran. That's on my list. One I've started watching that I'm completely enraptured by the way. Oh, Fall of the House of Usher is up there for me as well. Because I'm a Flanagan nerd and I'm a Poe nerd, so that's the perfect combination for me. Uh, an animated show called Scavenger's Reign. It's a show on Max. There's a few people I've heard talking about it, but it's not one that everybody's huge into. Um, and it's about I because it's hard to tell what exactly it's about in the first couple of episodes, which I've only watched now. It's this kind of somber sci-fi magical type deal going on. But I literally put up the wiki to get the synopsis of it. It's the survivors of the damaged interstellar cargo ship, the Demeter 227, who are stranded on Vesta, an alien planet bursting with flora and fauna, but filled with dangers. The survivors start off separated in three groups. Um, and then it's about them trying to, basically survive and, maybe get home.
Here's one.
Um,
Actually, I did watch it and enjoyed it. Twisted Metal.
oh, I didn't watch any.
You didn't watch it, and I remember saying to you, you should.
Yeah,
It's quite good.
the voice of Will Arnett and the body of Samoa Joe, match
um,
made in heaven.
is New Frasier on your top of the year?
So New Frasier is interesting because I think it's definitely better than No Frasier, and I think Kelsey Grammer is way better than everybody else in the show, and he can still play that character so well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if he wasn't in it, that show is a 4 or 5 out of 10 at best.
Oh, that show is not getting renewed for season two. Like,
I think, well, it might on the strength of him.
no,
Um,
I mean without him is what I mean.
oh, without him, oh, for sure,
Yeah,
yeah. Nicholas Lyndhurst is pretty decent in
I
it.
do. I do enjoy Nicholas Thorson.
I
Yes.
don't think the writing is very good, and I think there's a character they have as the stand-in for the Niles role who is terrible.
Oh, the nephew.
Yes, David.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think the guy who plays the grown-up Freddy is actually pretty decent.
Mm.
Um, but a lot of the other characters, the surrounding cast, are as deep as teaspoons. Like your man, the nephew David, has big Sheldon Cooper vibes, which just sucks.
Mm.
Like, um, but yeah, those would be my some of my TV things of the year.
Actually, do you know what would be on my shit list of the year?
Go on.
I watched the most recent South Park special.
Oh God.
One of the nights. It's like all about Prime. Well, they don't call it Prime
Yeah.
and influencers. It's fucking horrendous.
I don't think I've watched South Park property since I was in college, and I think I'm probably better off keeping that way. Right. Snack talk.
I was just going to say I was up late and I had no excuses.
Yeah. Snack talk, and then we'll do a couple of more OTYs, and then we'll go to a card rundown. So Lee, any particular snack highlights over Christmas, and
Ooh,
failing that, what snacks have you got packing for the pay-per-view tonight?
uh, highlights over Christmas. I think I've talked about this before on the show. My nanny, God bless her, makes a Christmas pudding especially for me every year. So she makes batches of Christmas puddings. All her children get one or two, but she always makes me my own little one that she gives to my dad to send down to me.
Oh hell
Um,
yeah.
so I've been munching away at that. And like Jen and Connor don't eat Christmas pudding, so it's great. I get it all to myself.
Yeah, I don't either. Christmas apple tart now. Hell yeah.
Um, so that's always a highlight. Other than that, there hasn't been like any crazy like out of the box treats
Mm.
this year. I mean, celebrations have been big in the house this year.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of celebrations eaten.
I found it hard to get the big boxes of crisps this year.
See, I'm not a crisp guy. I've never been a big box crisp guy.
I wouldn't eat multiple bags of crisps, but I like having them around at Christmas, for sure. But they were hard to get this year.
Sorry if
Um,
I keep looking off screen. I'm trying to keep an eye on Statlander and Willow to see
yeah. What
what
is in
the
Christmas pudding? This is what Danny's asking in the chat.
God. Don't
It
ask me. I don't.
stinks to fucking high heavens when it's being made. I'll
it's
tell you that.
fruitcake. It's fruitcake,
Yeah.
Danny. That's basically what it is.
Usually, like, I mean, at Christmas time, a tradition will be to put a bit of rum in it as well.
Well, I was just going to say there's more than a bit in this.
Yeah.
My,
When a
my nanny
granny
is
makes it, it's usually fairly heavy-handed.
it's quite liberal with the alcohol in it.
Hmm.
I'd say I could fucking set fire to it and like take down a whole block of houses.
Um, So, a Christmas pudding, according to this website, Christmas pudding should have 13 ingredients. Apparently, originally to represent Jesus and the 12 disciples. I don't know how true or apocryphal that is. Raisins, currants, suet, brown sugar, breadcrumbs, citron, lemon peel, orange peel, flour, mixed spices, eggs, milk, and brandy or rum. So there you go. It's brandy and shite, according to Kieran. Which is a much more succinct way of putting it than I did.
Kieran's really gone on my fucking shit list here tonight.
I'll tell you, he's in flying form in the chat.
Fucking having you on his show multiple times.
Great to have him. Great to have him.
Your haircut.
Salt of the earth.
No, that you can't get drunk off it, Danny.
No, it's usually cooked out of it.
Yeah, it's
the
cooked
actual
out, yeah.
alcohol content. It's just got the flavoring. So for me, I think the pretty much the last week has been characterized by the old leftover sambos,
Oh yeah.
which are I almost look forward to it more than the Christmas dinner now. I started kicking it up a notch a couple of years ago by stealing what sounded like a very dumb idea from friends, but I do the moist maker. If I do a triple decker sandwich with the middle slice of bread is soaked in gravy. That's pretty good. And you got your meats, your stuffing, your butter in there. Some people might put in a bit of cranberry instead of a bit of butter. They might put a pinch of salt in. But it's a bit different depending on what they like. And I know the English, not to throw Kieran on the bus or anything like that, but I know multiple English people who put like the leftover veg from the dinner inside the sandwich, and
that's wrong.
That's fucking pervert behavior now, if I'm honest.
That's disgusting. Like, come on.
Yeah. So there's that. I've been eating like the leftover baked ham from Christmas is like I just love a nice crumbled Christmas ham. That's fucking good shit. Last night actually we went out for dinner. And one of the nicest things I've had over the whole Christmas. Shout out to 50/50 in Temple Ogue, which is I had salt and chili chicken wings, and it was like proper fresh ground salt.
Oh, nice.
Proper like you could see the chilies on it, like proper. Yeah, it was good. It was good shit. Oh, at least Kieran is not co-signing with some of his people on the veg on sandwiches. I'm assuming that's what his shock is from. What? No, stop. Yeah. Oh, 50/50 rocks, Dave. Yeah. We my partner's brother used to live in the area several years ago, so we had gone a couple of times with him, and now just on very rare occasions, maybe once a year or so, we think, hey, we haven't gone to 50/50 in a while. Yeah, it's banging. It's absolutely banging. I love the carbonara there. I love the sticky toffee pudding there. I pretty much I don't think there's anything I've ever ordered that I didn't like there. I got absolutely lamped at a family do. Emma's family were having a do up there when her brother lived up around there. And they do a very strong old fashioned. I'll tell you that.
You do like an old fashioned.
Yeah. I certainly do. For tonight, I don't know really because I kind of ran out of time tonight, so I've only just had my dinner before we started this. But I do have one of those kind of like pretzel and savory treat mixes that you get in the supermarkets. I do have. Oh, it's back here. An enormous Toblerone.
Oh,
which the OG Toblerones, lads.
I'm gone off
Happy
the Toblerone.
Fucking bet. Here now.
No, I will say I haven't had a proper
yes,
one in a long time.
Sorry, as Dave said, there is a morgue directly across the road from that lovely restaurant, which does kind of kill the ambience a tiny bit, but delicious nonetheless.
Ooh, I think Willow and Statlander just had a bad old botch.
Really?
I purposely went to the shop earlier on just so I could get these. Big fan of these. Have you
Oh, the
seen these
squashies. Mm,
squashies? Great sweet treat.
yeah. I have my Toblerone. I still have a few bags of cheese and onion that I got like just a multi-pack when I couldn't get the box.
Mm.
Isn't there an actual morgue though? Like, isn't there wasn't or at least wasn't there one directly across the road? Or am I thinking of somewhere else entirely? There is somewhere I go to dinner occasionally that has a legitimate like morgue slash undertakers across the road from it. I might be mixing up two places in one. And I do apologize to the people of 50/50 if I am doing that. But anyway,
Willow beat Statlander, by the way.
okay. Let's move on because I am conscious of time and I do want to finish by the top of the hour. So let's do our final OTYs pretty quick. Um, First off, match of the year.
Kenny Osprey at the Dome.
Okay,
I I I can't get past it. I think it's fucking phenomenal. Danielson MJF is running it close for me,
that's mine.
and I will rewatch both before I decide what I'm putting on my match of the year list. But
Mm.
I have like it's right there, and they're my two.
I have a strong indication that finishing up maybe top three somewhere is Hangman Swerve Texas Death.
I love that match. Oh man,
Yeah.
I do love that match.
And I think the more we look back on that, I think that's going to age very well because I think we're going to see that as the moment that a star was born.
Serena Deeb video package.
Okay.
That's unexpected.
That is unexpected. I forgot she was still under contract.
So Tony is restocking the women's division.
Yeah, ahead of certain people maybe showing up. I don't know.
Um,
Or
yeah.
not. Yeah.
Mm.
Mm.
I ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, yeah. I'd say nothing. Uh,
um, the Kieran knee jerk match of the year is Swerve Hangman.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's for me. I can't stop thinking about it since I saw. And it's I think the only two matches where immediately afterwards I was like, I'm gonna rewatch that. Is that and MJF Danielson.
like Swerve Hangman, I watched live, got about 2.5 hours sleep, and then got up the next morning and watched it with Connor, just
Yeah.
so I could see his face be absolutely fucking disgusted.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Parent of the year over here, I know.
Oh, absolutely. Now we come to I think it might be harder is wrestler of the year.
Hmm.
Like I think if we were to talk about who's gonna get it from the observer, I think like Osprey's walking it, probably.
Yeah.
But I
Um,
his style, as much as I appreciate it and will rate a lot of matches he's in highly, his style isn't my preferred style. So I don't think he's my personal one.
like it's Danielson.
Yeah. I think Danielson is mine. I think for up until March or April, I think MJF could have walked it.
Crazy to think about, isn't it?
And he's still like, because that's what, a lot of people have been talking about. It's wild that my match of the year might feature my least favorite wrestler of the year. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
how high were we on like the build to MJF getting it and the first 2 to 3 months of his reign?
And also,
Uh,
like that four way, the Pillars four way over delivered.
yeah,
And
it
a lot of
certainly
that was
did.
because MJF was fucking class in it as well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, Danielson. Um, I think in terms of, I don't think I've not enjoyed a match he's been in this year. Mox is always going to be sniffing
Yeah.
around, but I think he has less of the 4.5+ star matches this year
Mm-hmm.
than Danielson
I
or
think
some others.
the injury kind of knocked him back, or the
Yeah,
concussion knocked him
yeah,
back a
yeah,
little bit.
for sure. And I think if Swerve's heating up had started maybe 3 months earlier, he would be very much in the
I,
conversation.
I think 2024 will be Swerve's year. I
Yeah,
can see that guy going on a fucking killing
I,
spree in
I,
2024.
I've said it since Wembley, since we saw him that entrance of his
Mm-hmm.
at Wembley. I was like, if the title doesn't get on him at some point next year, it's a fucking travesty.
Like the two things we came away from Wembley. Well, three because we'll include Sting.
Speedball is a great shout, Jamie, by the way. Like of
Uh,
somebody outside the top three companies who's just like every time you see him, it's 4 stars like his bar.
I was just going to say I'm almost bored of seeing Speedball because he's
Yeah.
just so fucking good, and like
Yeah,
every
yeah,
match is just good, like
yeah.
good
Yeah,
to
yeah.
great. No, sorry, we were saying like Wembley, like the three things like we came away with. One, Sting coming out to Seek and Destroy was just incredible. Um, but two and three would be Osprey and Swerve. They were the two
Yeah.
guys on that show that you went, they're undeniable.
If they're determined to keep Swerve as a heel, having that be the match for Wembley, Osprey wrestling for the title.
Mm-hmm.
You could do worse. You could do worse.
I keep going back and forward whether I'd do Swerve Osprey or Hangman Osprey for
Yeah.
Wembley.
Yeah.
But they'd be my two top contenders.
Yeah. It's great to see Hanger back as well,
Mm-hmm.
killing it. Um, yeah, so there are our OTYs. Let's do very quickly. I'm gonna throw it open on Letterboxd here, but our final off-topic one is what is your film of the year? What's the best film you saw all year?
I don't know. Is the honest answer. Let me go have a look and see what I've watched this year.
Yeah, so
Um,
like I literally just today watched one that's like so I think Oppenheimer is a classic like
I
one to
haven't
mention
watched
for
it
this
yet,
year.
and it's one I keep going. I need to sit down and watch it.
Yeah, given what I did in college, I'm like, yeah, that's
Oh yeah,
basically made for me, that movie.
like I'm just saying, I fucking love that
Uh
old stuff.
Dead Reckoning Part 1 rocked. Across the Spider-Verse rocked. Um, Today I actually saw one that's gonna be quite high on my list, but I might rewatch it one more time. The Holdovers, which is a new Alexander Payne movie. He did Sideways many years ago. This is Paul Giamatti plays a cantankerous old teacher at a boarding school in the 70s where he's stuck looking after the kids that are left behind for Christmas.
Okay.
Um, Past Lives, I have it ready to watch. I have not watched it yet. Similarly, Anatomy of a Fall is very high on my list. I've got a load of stuff on my watch list because loads of my film YouTube people I follow are starting to put out their OTYs and I'm just filling up my list. So like the Artifice Girl, Passenger or Passages, Zone of Interest is in there. His three daughters, American Fiction, I've heard is class. Theater Camp is one I'm really disappointed I didn't get to. Infinity Pool, I still haven't watched, which like as a fan of the Cronenberg family and their oeuvre, I'm kind of disappointed I didn't get to that yet. And May December is another one. What about yourself, Lee? Did you
Do you know what the best movie I watched this year? And I don't think it's a movie from this year.
what?
Is the uh, Glass Onion? Is that what it was called?
Glass
The
Onion? Yeah, that was like I think this was this time last year, was it, or the year before even?
what? I can't remember. I
I feel
definitely
like it
watched it
might have
this year.
been right near the end of us being locked down. It feels like, or
Um,
maybe it was last year.
but God, that movie was fucking incredible.
Mm.
Well,
I
sorry, the battle royal is starting, so all the kind of bigger names are coming out for it now.
okay.
So
Um, Dakota Jones then same May December is very good. Yes, I have heard. I enjoyed Wonka, you know. I watched
haven't
Wonka over
again
Christmas.
haven't seen it. I'm
Better
I'm
than it
I'm
should have been.
I'm not a Wonka guy. Like I'm not a Charlie and the Chocolate
It's
Factory
way
guy.
better. It's way better than it has any right to be. It's no Gene Wilder, but it is certainly helping to erase the Johnny Depp one ever happening, and I'm all in favor of that. The two that are out in the States that haven't come out in Ireland that would have been high on my list based on what everybody's saying about them. Iron Claw, obviously,
Okay, yeah, it's still not. I still can't see it.
and Poor Things, the Yorgos Lanthimos film. I really, really want to see that. Um,
Sorry, I just see Dalton Castle making his way to the ring. Have you seen his new gimmick of
oh,
him?
where he's like broken.
Yeah, he's been a broken man. Yeah, it's fucking
Yeah.
great.
Oh, John Wick 4 was this year. Yeah, Kieran.
Oh, we haven't
Fuck,
watched it
that was
yet.
great.
Yeah, I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah. Boy and the Heron as well literally just came out here, the new Miyazaki movie, and I haven't gone to see that yet. I want to see it in the cinema. Um, so yeah, that'll definitely be up there. Right, shall we get to this card? No point in doing the preview of the pre-show anyway.
Well, the battle royale's just going on. So who do you think is? Give me a name, and if they're in it, I'll tell you.
Is Hanger in it?
Brian Keith is in it.
Load of Brian Keith won and got the graphic at the end.
I see the
It,
Butcher, Chris
okay.
Daniels, the Blades, Top Action, Johnny TV, Dalton Castle, or Rapongi Voice are there, Danhausen, and Lance Archer, from what I can see. I don't think you think Serpentico is going to win, so
No.
was
I'm trying to think who would feud with Edge or Christian. So that's hard because none of them people stood out to me, except maybe like if Christian wins, maybe he'd like they'd do like a Danhausen
I could see doing a Brian Keith Adam Copeland match.
Keith versus Cope. Okay. I'd be down for it. Brian Keith rocks.
I'd look. He's now my favorite for this Brian Keith. Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
the Dark Order are in there as well.
Torque order.
Your boys, the Beaver boys, are there.
Lee looking very professional. First time for everything.
Thank you, Dakota. I always knew you were my favorite.
Predicting a Money in the Bank cash in on the Cope.
Oh yeah,
That
because
would be fun.
it's a championship match at any time.
Shoot Lance Archer then. Check who could cash in and kill him.
Hang
Stone
on,
dead.
what wasn't Lance Archer with the fucking spooky boys, the Righteous? Last time you saw
Oh
him,
yeah, he was. Yeah, Archer is a good challenger in the week. He really is. Like I always say it when he comes up in conversation. Remember when he yeeted that cunt through a roof in the backstage brawl? One of the goddamn best things I've ever seen in my life.
sorry, Dave, you can't say yeet anymore in
Oh
terms
yeah,
of
sorry,
wrestling.
that's legally
Yeah,
protected term, isn't
yes,
it?
yeah.
Okay, so we had Willow go over in the other match.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next up here for the pre-show main event is Hook Utah.
I mean, Hook has to win. It's the
Yeah,
FTW match.
yeah,
It's
it's got to be
FTW
Hook.
rule, so he's gonna beat him there, and then they'll do the pure
Yeah,
rule challenge.
yeah. Then we've got the one that we're gonna like not talking too much depth about, and it's the 8-man thrown together match with the Don Callis family versus Sting, Darby Allin, and the Sex Gods.
I
Um,
mean, look, they're obviously setting up a Darby and Sting title challenge, and they might make it a three-way with Don Callis family involved, and maybe it's a way to get the title from heel to heel.
yeah. I think it would be an interesting one to set up the Darby and Sting challenging for the titles. And if we're getting to Darby versus Sting 1-on-1 at Revolution, that does Darby turn on Sting? Or
I hope not.
do they do the thing where they're buddies till the end and like he retires as a tag champion and it just goes up in a tournament?
That I wouldn't be opposed to that. That's
It'd be nice to give Sting a belt, but also like he doesn't need it either.
I
So
I, I think they could do Darby and Sting against the Bucks as heels
mm,
for Sting's last match.
yeah. But it does feel a bit thrown together, and so nothing is gonna
Hmm.
necessarily surprise me in terms of who takes a pin and what happens. Can't say I care too much about it even after what's happened today.
Everything, yeah.
Um, next up, TBS Championship, Julia Hart versus Abaddon. I think this could be a sneaky good match because I think Abaddon has improved.
Mm-mm.
I don't think necessarily to be like top class, and I think Julia Hart as we've talked about already, has improved a lot. I think this is one of those that it could be awful if they're not clicking, but if they click, this could be surprisingly fun. Like it could be a hoot of the night contender.
I think it'll be relatively short compared to the other matches on the show. Um, I wouldn't. I don't think you're going to see a debut after this title match.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're going down the route of doing Rosa and Julia.
Yeah. Which I'd be cool with.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like if Rosa could still go after the injury, I think there's definitely welly in a nice TBS reign for her. Um Next up, one that I think you want to talk about matches that could easily absolutely bang. Swerve Keith Lee. We're finally getting it, Lee.
Are we?
I I hope so. Because like I think it deserves to be blown off. I think Strickland needs the big win. Well, it doesn't need it, but I think if there's gonna be a finish to this match, it has to be Strickland over. Keep that momentum going.
Let's just do the Twitter eyes and say there's a reason Swerve said if he shows up on Saturday
Yeah,
in his promo.
yeah, very true. Um, I do think Swerve's promo after losing the semifinals was class.
Oh, Lee is off the show. There you go.
What?
Keith
Keith's
Lee
off
is
the show?
off. It's
Oh,
Swerve versus Dustin Rhodes.
oh, that's
So
gonna bang.
there we go. Keith Lee is
Done.
he ain't injured
Yeah,
no matter what
interesting.
he says.
Yeah, that's interesting. God, as if there wasn't already enough fucking gossip and side eye emojis going on Twitter today. Here we go. Sorry, I'm just gonna take a snapshot of the chat. What have we got in here? Darby should be Sting's final match, but without a turn, says Kieran. Sting has said his last match will be with Darby, but not necessarily against Darby. This is very true. Lee is off the show. Yeah, everybody's like they call him the natural. I'm so into.
Yeah, I'm
I
into
love
Swerve.
Dustin.
Yeah, Swerve Dustin's.
It's
But
pretty good.
there you go. Dave is right. Jobberitis is contagious.
Yeah. We will talk
It,
about
it's a
another jobberitis match. You want to talk about
it's
like
a,
once these two guys get in the building, you need to fucking lock the doors.
it's
We'll
amazing the
talk about it in a couple of
diseases
minutes.
you can catch in Orlando, Florida. That's all I'll
Yeah.
say.
Next up, we're saying still Strickland over Dustin though, or like
Oh
obviously.
yeah, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, yeah.
Next up, we got the Blackpool Combat Club. This could be an absolute banger. Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio Danielson, Mark Briscoe, and Daniel Garcia
Interesting
versus
placements on which team Garcia is on. That's the most
yes,
intriguing thing on this.
versus Big Bad Brody King, Jay Lethal, Jay White, and Roosh. Fuck me, this is gonna be breathless. This is like, don't fucking get up out your seat for this one, lads. Don't go to the bathroom. You're gonna miss 1,000 things happening.
Keep an eye on Roosh shooting his own angles.
Yeah. It's so funny that of the two,
Like he's been the team
Roosh has
player.
been on his
Yeah,
best behavior, and
I
he's
love.
fucking. He is. You want to talk about guys who had a killer C2? I
Yeah,
love Roosh so much.
who of the year was that Danielson Roosh match?
Oh, hey, there's another guy. If he hadn't been gone on his paternity leave,
Mm-hmm.
good case for absolute killer year.
But also father of the year.
Yes, father of the year for sure. Except for Christian. AEW Women's World Title, Timeless Tony versus Riho. This match is entirely dependent on how much stick happens because if this is
I
just a match, this will be really good, but
I
I don't
don't
think it will be.
I don't think the result here is a foregone conclusion.
No, but I also think that it could be shtick heavy, which will be bad.
Mm, I think it'll be toned down, and I think this match will be fucking pretty damn good. And this is obviously where you're gonna get your big surprise.
Yeah, I hope so. Do you say? Are you committing? Are you putting the house that it happens?
Yeah,
Okay, okay.
I'm on record. It's happening tonight.
I hope so. I really do. I could really use it. And this division fucking could use it. I'd feel bad for it because I was kind of getting a little bit excited about that person having a little impact run for a year.
You would talk yourself into it, yeah.
I hadn't talked myself into it, but I was like, I was on board with the idea. I was like, that could be really cool. Anyway, but there are certain people who might be out of contract in Impact in the next while that, or who were just recently out of contract who could have bangers with that person in AEW now.
Yeah.
Because there's another woman who could debut at some
But
stage
see,
very soon.
I said I'd do the Adam Cole, Brian Danielson double whammy debut tonight.
That would be great.
That's what I do.
Mm,
So you have person one come out, and then you have big star person two
yeah.
come out.
Next match, lock the doors so they don't leave the fucking building. It's Miro versus Andrade in the loser gets to go back to Uncle Paul match.
Can both people lose? Because
I'm so frustrated because like I love these guys as wrestlers. And the one thing I will say, right, you've got the whole very publicized Miro won't do jobs thing. But once Miro is in the ring, he's fucking great in AEW. Andrade still, like, as a lot of people have remarked, needs such a specific, perfect storm to be motivated. Like, we can probably only count about a dozen times we've seen him since maybe he showed up in NXT that he's been motivated.
Hmm.
But when
It's
he is, he's so fucking
he's.
good.
I mean, the man's probably had like in a lot of people's eyes the best WWE match of all time. Like, just think about that.
Yeah.
It's incredible. But yeah, no, he's gone.
And this
So
again, this is like if both men are feeling it, and like it, I'd be somebody with a bit between my teeth with the way they're talking about these guys, but I don't think they care that they could absolutely have a like that kind of surprise banger that Hobbs and Miro had. Like they could top that, do you know what I mean? And have just a
mhm.
fucking knockdown, drag out fight. Um, Andrade got a clean win over Brian Danielson. If that doesn't motivate you, yeah, Dave, I don't think it does motivate him at all. To think this man is fucking, he's crossing off days on the calendar like he's about to get out on parole.
There's only one thing that motivates him, and that's time away with his wife.
Yeah, yeah, his current wife. Um,
His wife at the time.
Next up, I think like this is the one that like I've talked about sneaky potential matches tonight. I think this is the one that like this is the one to beat on paper. And that is Eddie Kingston versus John Moxley, both in terms of the narrative
Hmm.
and the men involved. I think this is going to be fucking great. I That Danielson Kingston match just filled me with the warm fuzzies during the week. It was so
That's
fucking good.
that's so fucking great. And then
God bless
the promo that followed.
God bless our fearless leader Joe. He was not feeling it, and he was out to lunch on that one. Out to lunch.
He's just not into Kingston the way a lot of
He's
people
never
are.
been into Kingston. In fairness,
Yeah.
like he's consistent on that, but I fucking loved that match so much. And I think this is like you can go either way with this because like something
But
about Kingston's story is like it would be so good if he gets that triumphant big win because he's beaten so many demons this year. He finally beat Claudio. He finally beat Brian. And now he's coming up against his buddy Mox again.
mhm.
So there's that, but then there's also the fact that part of the charm of the Eddie story is that he never wins the big one, with the exception of the Claudio match.
He needs something to overcome. That's when Eddie's at his best because
Yeah,
he can be fiery and
and
like
as I'm sorry,
um Mox has, I think that they can go to a Mox Swerve feud if that's where they want to go. But then again, Mox just having the triple crown or whatever they're
yeah,
calling it. Hey, that's cool.
yeah. Well, I think that when as soon as the fields were announced, I said Moxie's winning this
Hmm.
because I said now it makes sense why they put
The
the
international
other
title
belt
back
back
on.
on OC because I'm
Hmm.
like they want Mox to be the standard bearer for this new title. And I think that's a great first champion to establish it as a real thing. But I also think, and that have you seen that online exclusive promo that Eddie cut about
I
this
haven't
match?
actually. No.
Where he starts listing out like, Kabashi, Masawa, Taue, like, Akiyama, all his heroes. He's like, I'm gonna do it for them. This is wrestling. We are not fucking funny. This is a fight. And you're just like, fucking like you're just like, yeah,
There's no wrestler that can get you fired up, or there's no other wrestler that can get fans fired up the way Eddie can.
yeah. Uh, Mox absolutely doesn't need the win, Kieran. You're right. But I think it depends on what your priority to make the man or establish the belt so it can make the man later.
You're making the tournament here.
Yeah. I think the story says Kingston, but maybe it depends on what your plan afterwards is. You know what I mean? Like you could have a first 6 months of just absolutely banger title matches for Mox set up to establish a great reign. I don't know. I don't know. And the thing about putting the belt back on OC before the C2 makes me lean towards Mox, at least was the plan at the start. But we'll see
Um,
what happens. Either way, like I don't think I'm going to be disappointed either way.
not to cut you off, but there's a very real possibility that Dave was right because Killswitch Luchadino just won the Battle Royal.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Hmm.
The belts being anywhere near the tournament as a whole. Yes, it is.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
that's a whole other fucking thing. Yes.
Yeah. I'll be like annoyed if these belts are ever split up.
which they kind of have to be because the ROH World Title is part of them.
Yeah, yeah. Um, it's kind of shit. Like unless your plan is to elevate one of the existing Ring of Honor belts or do a,
Unless ROH has been scrapped, they kind of
or
need a champion.
yeah, yeah. Because I can totally buy that New Japan are like, yeah, we don't want to deal with that strong openweight title, so you can meld that in. That's no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll totally buy that they're willing to wash their hands of that belt because that also feels like it was an office decision, kind of
Yeah.
like that New Japan World title,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll be quite happy, especially now that Obari's gone. Like I think they'd be
Yeah,
quite happy
Tanahashi
to be
doesn't give a
like,
fuck about American
yeah,
operations.
yeah, yeah. The crowd doing that's your belt in one of those threads AEW is to pull on, yeah. I hope the design I'm a belt design guy as well. I hope it's not
Oh
an
yeah,
ugly as fuck belt. Now,
hope the belt is
AEW
nice.
belts, with rare exceptions, are usually pretty nice looking. And I think they did a great job on that international
Mm-hmm.
title. So I hope the Continental belt, and I hope it's just like, do you hope it's just one belt or that they carry around the three? Because I know there's different school of thought on a triple crown being three full belts or being its own unified belt.
I think you need to have the three, and if they're gonna like just stay as a triple crown, a year from now you can then do the one belt.
The interesting thing about dividing them again is Tony saying that they will be up for grabs next year again.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's been a complete lack of clarity upon whether they will be permanently welded together or not.
They just need to scrap that and just say the C2 is
Yeah.
for a title shot.
Yeah, I totally agree in the normal course things, Kieran. The Triple Crown needs to be three belts, but also I'm kind of like, weld it together so that they can't break them apart. Is part of it. Like let them book themselves into a corner so that they can't take one of the crowns away from the triple crown.
Mm.
Because you'd back like another company to just if it's a triple crown, it stays the triple crown forever. But if they I just have this feeling that they'll get itchy on pulling them apart quicker than they should. Mox would look ridiculous with three belts, but Eddie is permanently doing odd. I don't know if Mox grows out a mustache and does like the Dan Severn style photo shoots with all his belts. I
Mox
think that'll
walking
rock.
Mox walking into the Tokyo Dome with the three belts is that's a strong look.
It is a strong look. New Japan strong look, you might say. Oi
Mm.
oi. Yeah, because then he's going for a fourth belt
Yeah,
at the
then he's gone
dome.
for the New Japan. What's it? Everyone's calling it New Japan whites only
It's
belts.
less a belt, more some sort of harness. um, Christian versus the Cope.
I mean, Copeland has to win, doesn't he?
I think he has to, but I don't want Christian to lose this belt ever, really.
I don't think Christian needs the belt to be as entertaining as and as important as he has been.
Yeah. I think it would be, depending on what you're doing in that world title match, I think Christian would be a great world title challenger to whoever has it. If you want to do that for a short program. I wouldn't put the world title on him, but I think he'd be a great, even for one of those big dynamites,
Yeah,
he'd be a
yeah, yeah.
great, like, in between challenger. Yeah, I think Copeland probably has to win it, but I don't have a huge amount of interest in what Copeland does with the TNT title.
And like,
Although I will say they're putting that TNT belt on big name guys. In fairness, like this is you wouldn't see them put the US title on guys of this level in the dub.
but I don't really need to see Copeland and Killswitch ever again. So maybe Christian retains and Killswitch just cashes in and goes face.
Hmm?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like I have the feeling that whatever happens after this match, I become because in fairness, much as we're both down on the cope, I think they've talked me into this feud. I enjoy this feud
Yeah, oh,
more than
yeah,
I
no,
thought I would.
it's been much more enjoyable than I thought it would be. And
The go
but
fuck
I
yourself
got
is one of the most iconic things
yeah,
that's happened in the history of that company, by the way.
but they've also made the eventual reunion mean something by doing this feud straight out the gate.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. But I hope they hold off on it for a good while longer. I hope they don't
Yeah,
just
oh
like
yeah,
just go to do it now.
they need to wait like 18 months. Like,
Or at the very earliest, Wembley.
mm,
Edge and Christian versus the Bucks at Wembley, if they're
mm.
worried about filling that sucker, I think is a big deal.
and FTR sitting in a box crying.
Once they don't do Edge and Christian versus the Hardys, I hope they wait long enough that at least one Hardy has packed it in by then. Because I have no interest. That will be beyond sad watching
Oh,
that.
that would be so sad.
Because there was that talk online, little whispers for a while that like, do you think they'd get the Dudleys in for one? And I'm like, oh, please, please,
No,
God, no.
no.
um, Wembley 2025. Yeah, I mean, if fucking the wheels haven't fallen off Cope by then, yeah, I'd hold off that long. Um, yeah, this is one of those. I think the longer we wait, the better. But also, I have no faith in them holding it another 18 plus months. Um, then the main event. MJF versus Samoa Joe. The one thing I will say about this go home thing with the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles going on the Masked Men, it's terrible. But you know what? You know what? At least Adam Cole and MJF aren't champions anymore. And I think something we've been saying since the start is like, you continue this feud all you fucking want. Let's just get all these belts off these cunts
Yes.
and then let them do it. And we can ignore it much easier then.
Yeah. Look, MJF needs to lose here. He needs to get destroyed or fucking whatever needs to happen with the devil, and he needs to just go away.
Yeah.
Like there's real MJF fatigue at the moment.
Yeah.
And he can do as many I hear you, I see you
Yeah.
tweets and whatever else he wants. I enjoyed the Players Tribune piece. I like don't get why people are so fucking.
I think the one thing I will say is like I think he is as misjudged as anybody his age about how he talked about the Israel Palestine stuff. That's the bit where I'm just like, you fucking idiot. like
Just,
like it was proper. Some of my best friends are Palestinian. Like
I
going,
know, I
I'm
know,
banging a Palestinian, so it's fine.
I know. It's
But
just like,
yeah, no, I think that like I mean, I sort of get people being annoyed about like he's clearly working for a lot of that article. Like he's trying to do the usual MJF stuff of blending how he really feels with
mhm.
how he's working. Um, but I felt like it was not a goodbye letter because that man has signed. He's going nowhere
Oh yeah, the
in
whole I
terms of
don't know what's
company.
going to happen. Like,
No,
no,
but
you're
I
obviously
feel it
staying.
was also a either tonight or in the near future he's being written out for a little while to sell that maybe he is done
Mm-hmm.
and to again, like you said, that fatigue to calm things down. Um, which means that if it is tonight, the devil will be revealed. And like Tony Khan all but said, we're fixing to reveal who this devil is.
They're putting. He basically said we're putting an end to it. Like,
So, with it being kind of publicly acknowledged at this point that no matter who it is, like short of it being CM Punk, which it's not, I
oh,
don't think
that's not.
it's not. Uh, but like short of something like that crazy, I think at least 50% of people watching it are going to be pissed off by whoever it is because you set the expectation in such a place that it can't be any of the obvious people, but also they've been so lore heavy that it
if
can't be a
if it,
surprise either.
yeah, it can't be somebody that's not talked about. But if
Like
it's somebody that's been talked about, everyone's got like. There's going to be people that are disappointed. Um.
like you use one example like of people that was heavily hinted and kind of lured that it was like if it's Adam Cole has to be involved, but also people are going to get really annoyed if Adam Cole's involved. And that's Kieran makes a great point. If it's Tony Khan, I don't think for a single second it's actually Tony Khan.
No.
I'd be more surprised than I was about the Howard Power. Uh, if it turns out to be TK, I don't think it is. I think you're talking Adam Cole. I think you're talking um like some people have said Jay White. Some people have said
No.
the Jungle Boy.
He's my running favorite.
I think Jungle Boy would be the biggest wet fart of the most obvious names. Because I think Adam Cole makes more sense. Um, and I think I just think Jack Perry is going to suffer from the thing of like no one's buying this because whoever it is going to be pushed as the top heel in the company, and that to me that's not Jack Perry.
The two most disappointing reveals for me would be one Britt Baker.
Oh, Garrett, if the devil was Pac, I would fucking lose it.
Yes,
That
that would
is
be a
it.
great reveal.
That would actually, God damn it, Garrett. I love you, man. But like, you've just done me now because now it's just like, I had set my bar low. And now that you said Pac, I'm like, fuck, that would be great. It wouldn't make any sense, but it would be great.
The only person I would have on the level of a Pac reveal would be Gene Parmesan.
Ah, oh, jeez. He got me again. Gene was far from the best.
Can't go show it out in Arrested Development. Quote.
Yeah, Kieran wants to be back as well. Any point discuss my rehab Jack Perry booking, says Dave. Number one, David Arquette's manager. Look here, I'm on board for that, but that's mid card. Like that's whoever, like I said, whoever this devil is going to be, they're going to be positioned, at least in the short term, as the number one heel in this company. And Jack Perry is not ready for that.
Mm-hmm. Look, I think we just need to get there, and
we just need to get it over with. Like
yeah.
That's what it is. Like it's if not already, it is in danger of being White Hummer levels of like no one cares anymore, and you've built it up too much, and it's too sprawling and too weird and too dumb. I was kind of disappointed that for a while the people who were in the masks every week were the people who it was originally planned to be. But now the last few weeks, there's rumors that they're basically just sticking masks at anybody who's around. So like the Von Erichs were apparently the guys on Wednesday.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That would explain why they didn't understand how to put feet in ropes.
Yeah, at least, well, that's what I've heard. I don't know if that's substantiated or that's just people are guessing based on physical appearance. I think like it's a safe assumption that one of the people under the mask is the Wardlow.
Yes.
And I think at least it would give him a direction. I think you need to put him with somebody or in a stable because like he's drowning by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think definitely, I think the most interested I was in MJF was before things got too silly, when a lot of people were cutting promos on him when Collision started, and you had the chickens coming home to roost of now he's a babyface, but all the people he pissed off when he was a heel hate him. Wardlow has said he's on vacation, so he might as well have said, yes, it's me.
Yeah, he's done the Mercedes Monet of I'm here in this location.
I don't think he is the devil.
Oh no, Jesus Christ, no.
Jamie, what if it was Kevin Von Erich? I'd pop big. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Unless it's Pac now. Thanks, Garrett. I don't care who it is. I just want it over and done with. And now we know it's not Joe. Because it's that Joe. Yeah, we know it's neither Joe. Because Samoa Joe is like he's just working in cahoots. I think that element would have been interesting. If it wasn't like the angle itself wasn't so shoddy. I think Joe turning on him at the last minute and having, signed a deal with the devil to screw Max out of the title could have potentially been an interesting way of looking at things. But I think the angle was so like done for already that nothing was saving it at the last minute. Kev would have a stupid, massive grin on his face when the mask comes off, like he has every week. Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically the. So do you think? Obviously,
what if it's like a stable of people that Punk had annoyed? So like it's Chris Daniels. It's all the people Punk wouldn't let on Collision. The Colt Cabana and
it's the Rampagers.
Yeah. The Bucks.
Oh God, I really hope the Bucks aren't part of it.
That's actually maybe the worst answer to the question is if the Bucks are involved at all. I don't think they are, but Jesus Christ, that'd be tedious beyond words.
I mean, the plans for Jack Perry are either he's the devil or he's doing another heel thing with the Bucks. Isn't that the theory?
Yeah, well, there's that whole idea of a stable with Cutler, Colt, the Bucks, and maybe one or two people.
Imagine Jack Perry cutting promos for the Bucks.
God. Maybe better than the Bucks cutting promos, but not by much.
Oh.
Right. Yeah. Who do we think is winning? Because I'm hoping against hope it's Joe.
I think it's Joe, and Joe gets a short transitional reign.
Just with the way this year has gone, my head still says MJF, but my heart says Samoa Joe. And I think it'd be so. I think the Ring of Honor mark that is Tony Khan wants Samoa Joe to be world champion before he hangs it up. Just like I wouldn't be surprised if Danielson got a short stint this year as well.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I want Joe to win, but don't be surprised for a single second if MJF wins or if the devil doesn't get revealed.
If we get that double whammy,
Look, I didn't think he'd drop it last month, but I was convinced the devil was getting revealed last month.
yeah, so was I.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like I'm not until that mask comes off in the light of day, I am not believing for a second that they're getting unmasked.
I
But
suppose
anyway,
it all comes down to if Tony Khan is paid for the Rolling Stones.
yeah. It's Mick Jagger. That's who it is.
Right. I suppose
Yeah.
we better go
It's
watch the show then.
there's not enough controversial figures in wrestling. Let's bring in rock stars from the 60s and 70s in.
Mhm.
Right, folks, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for joining us. We're thinking of we'll do this again for Revolution.
We will.
We're thinking of maybe doing a watch along where you can watch the pre-show on one screen with us as well. If that sounds like something you'd be interested in, let us know in the tweets because we're about to log off here, so you don't have to. Well, you can let us know in the chat if you want, but we
I
might
won't
see
see
it.
them. Let us know in the Discord.
You won't see him. Let us know in Discord. Let me know on Twitter. Um, we hope you enjoy World's End. We hope you enjoyed the pre-show tonight. It was an absolute pleasure having you. We hope you all had a Merry Christmas. We hope you all have a great New Year. All the best for 2024 from us. What's our next episode? Oh, it's the Fall Brawl episode
Yeah,
is
Fabro.
next.
Yeah.
It's up next week. So check that one out.
But like, I'll accept Kieran because he keeps, avoiding having me back on his show. So,
It's
and
probably because you're like a massive piece of shit or something.
he keeps complimenting you as well. That just really
Yeah,
pisses me off.
yeah. Kieran, my buddy, my friend.
Right, I'm going to watch the
Okay,
show. Thanks
right.
everyone for staying with us.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much.